and you said that timing is second only to creativity and quality of what you build. Can you
Yep.
expand on that statement?
So you may have the greatest idea in the world about something, and in all fullness of time, it's proven correct. But if you don't get the timing right, it's not gonna catch. Electric cars or graphical interfaces or the internet or so many things that were just too early to their time window. So that's timing is a fundamental baseline, but creativity can trump that in many cases, right? It can pull that window forward, right? Whereas maybe the global, societal, economic, et cetera, conditions make such and such a product a no-brainer and just like obvious, and anybody will succeed with it. But at the same time, is if you approach something with creativity, you can usually pull that window forward or shorten it forward, and you don't get a month or two of first mover advantage. You get maybe a 2-3 years of first mover advantage, and just by being creative about it. And I think there are a few products in history that have managed to do that, but they all come from amazingly creative bents and starting points. The poster child to me is the iPhone, right? The iPhone it was going to happen. Processors are getting smaller, screens were getting better, but to do it, as early as that team did it was really something special, and took humongous creativity to pull it off.
Where in your career have you seen that example, or where in your career have timing been right and where timing has been wrong?
Oh, timing off is so the original days. Back up. Where in my career have I seen timing be off? I'll go to an Apple example. So I was at Apple in the 90s and aughts and up through 2011. And I was part of what everybody knows now as iCloud, but it had different product names before that. And we, as a team, we had the idea of like server to computer or having the internet directly integrated into the operating system and et cetera, and doing things for you way, way, way early. And, it was successful within its own little community, but it didn't it didn't take off and change the entire industry forward the way it has now. Like, I can't think of an application or a computer or a platform today that doesn't have the internet at its core. And, that was something we were just a little early on pulling that one off, but the team really has driven it forward successfully now. And that's just awesome.
What is that like, having a product that you had originally worked on that's now like almost, I mean, not, I don't want to say almost everyone's using it, but it's so ubiquitous in the world. What is that feeling like?
Look, for that, I have to go to WhatsApp. I mean, where else do you get to affect billions? I mean, literally billions of users. And, for many people, certainly in emerging markets, WhatsApp is the internet to them. I mean, that is their experience. And, the ability that, you make the smallest change, the smallest little incremental change, and maybe you upset, 0.5%, only 4 or 5 million people, but you delight, 10%, hundreds of millions of people. That's just, it's really interesting to think about, 2 lines of code making the experience for hundreds of millions of people better. And it's a very weighty responsibility to think about that and to make sure you do it right and you're very careful. Also very very heady, just a very okay, wow.
And have you ever had to, just in that particular example, like, was there a hypothesis, going back to hypotheses, like where, because it impacts so many people, you're like, you just kind of question, like, is this the right decision?
Almost all of them, I think. Are we gonna black out, so and so's person, ability to communicate with their family because we made a small choice or a small tweak?
Yeah.
It's the care that the team spends on those thoughts and those decisions is, I respect it greatly. because it's just really, really difficult.
I mean, I can only imagine how stressful that is because, who you're taking accountability at every level of the company if in case something doesn't work. Yeah, I can't imagine how stressful that is.
It's great responsibility is, it's back to our goal conversation, right? If someone says, I want to be responsible for this and drive this thing forward, very often I think you find when they get there, if they get there, they find out, oh, this isn't what I want. It's not what I thought it was.
Yeah.
It's much better that you wind up there learning the lessons and not having sought the destination, because you realize it's just part of the journey, and it makes it so you can manage the stress. But yeah, that I can assure you, there's some amazing coworkers I had at WhatsApp that I know care very, very, very deeply about that.
Yeah. What you just mentioned, it just that basically feels like my whole entrepreneurial journey. It's like, oh, I want to work for myself and I want to build this great company, and I had no idea the journey I was about to embark on. Had I known, I would have never signed up for this.
Be careful what you ask for; you may get it.
Yeah, exactly. And I always get everything I want. But when you get it, you're like, oh man, that's not how I pictured it.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Goals, no plan survives first contact with the compiler, right? Nothing that you end with is what you sought out to start with. Because life and the world and everything gets into play, and you can think of a better way to do it, particularly in technology, right? The minute you've thought of something and done it, you immediately think of the way you can do it better.